On a heavily raining, dark night, a young boy sits in a corner, trying to remember the mysterious girl. She had told him his eyes matched hers and offered him a world that would fit him, but he still can't figure out who he is. 3 years later, at Wenias Royal Academy of Magic, a bell rings, summoning students to see a notice from Headmaster Albus, calling a student named Sable. The students, curious and pitying, assume the unrecognized, gloomy Sable with the worst grades is being summoned for expulsion, as Albus is notoriously strict. Sable makes his way to the office and stops at the sound of a loud voice. A girl is banging on Albus's door, frustrated and demanding answers. When she sees Sable, she angrily asks why he's there. Anxious, Sable tells her he was summoned by Albus. She hopes for his help to get into the office, but he refuses, stating she wasn't invited. Furious, she waves a stuffed creature named loux, pressing it against her throat to force Albus to come out. A wolf swordmaster rushes toward them, identifying the girl as loux Cristasse. Drawing his sword, he demands she release the student. Loux, unimpressed, declares she won't back down against a third-rate servant. The wolf and Loux engage in a tense standoff, but the wolf smashes her weapon away, pushing Sable aside when he tries to help. Just then, the door creaks open. Albus steps out, surprised to see Loux, and wonders how she entered the academy. Loux responds with a playful wink. Inside the office, Albus informs Sable about a special field program, offering him a chance to improve rather than expelling him. He talks about the Church and Witches' War, asking Sable if he knew who ended the witch hunts in Wenias. Sable replies that the main war ended 10 years ago by an evil sorcerer who created a new world for them. Albus explains that magic has changed the perception of witches, and while mastering magic takes decades, those with talent can learn quickly, hence the Academy's founding. However, in the southern regions, witches are still not accepted. Albus plans to establish a witch village there, and wants Sable to serve as a mage. If successful, Sable will regain all his memories of magic. Loux, impressed, volunteers to join, offering her 300 years of experience. Albus declines, revealing she has already hired another witch. Loux resigns in frustration, but Albus allows her to continue, promising a meeting with the author of a grimoire she's obsessed with. Loux is excited, but Albus warns the author may not be recognizable. The next day, Sable and Loux are joined by Hort, a fourth-year student. Kudo, a renowned student, arrogantly refuses to join, considering Sable the worst in the school. As the remaining trio begins their journey, Hort briefly freezes, seeing a dark vision, but quickly changes the subject, claiming hunger. Loux warns them about loux, the stuffed creature, explaining it can consume magic and kill anyone who touches it, which is why they stopped Sable earlier. However, it doesn't affect Loux because her body and soul are uniquely linked to it. As they travel, Sable's stomach starts acting up, forcing them to stop and rest in the tunnel. Hort shows Sable some magic, and he praises her for being a top student, though he feels bad for her being stuck with someone like him. Hort remains optimistic and reveals she wasn't always treated well. She was told to keep smiling so people would like her. She asks about Sable's story, and he confides that he lost his memory before coming to the academy. If he's expelled, he'll lose all his school memories too, leaving him with no choice but to become a mage. Loux, disappointed, warns him that an uncontrollable spell is extremely dangerous and suggests it might be better if he loses his memory completely. In a dark forest, a spy reports to a witch hunter about the witch groups in the village. The witch hunter asks which group to finish first. The spy suggests the lizard Beastfallen is stronger. The witch hunter, intent on his never-ending war against witches, sets out to hunt. The next day, while Sable and the others are eating, Kudo's companions return, complaining about Kudo's selfishness. Sable can't believe it, but Loux dismisses their blame, noting they weren't harmed and only Kudo is missing, likely captured by witch hunters. She defends Kudo, saying he acted to protect his friends. Loux decides to find Kudo, refusing to let Sable and Hort accompany her, as weak mages would be easy prey for witch hunters. Determined to help, Sable and Hort break the rules and use Lou's handkerchief to locate her. As they enter the forest, a creepy creature tearing through a pile of corpses and villagers moving in haste. Sable and Hort find Kudo's severed tail, unsure if he's alive or dead. Sable and Hort notice 3 sets of footprints, likely belonging to Kudo, Loux, and a witch hunter. They realize there is only one enemy, but that enemy must be incredibly skilled, possibly an arbiter, a professional witch hunter hired by the church. Hort, trembling with fear, holds Kudo's severed tail and urges Sable to go back, explaining that arbiters are trained to be ruthless, indifferent to how many innocents die in their pursuit. Sable argues that Dia Ignis' organization is gone, but Hort counters that the hunters themselves aren't gone, and their terror still lingers. Kudo, meanwhile, has been hiding in a tree, trying to evade the hunters. He spots some ropes, suspecting they might be traps. Unfortunately, the tree stem breaks, and he falls directly into one of the traps, causing sharp nails to tear into his foot. Hort recounts a childhood memory to Sable. When she visited a nearby village to see a friend, she was horrified to witness a pile of burning bodies, the work of a witch hunter. The hunter threatened her, saying she would die too if she was a witch. Hort had to deny knowing any friends and fled in fear. She fears that the same hunter might be after Kudo now, and she believes it's better to retreat while they can. Suddenly, they hear a scream that must be Kudo's. Sable refuses to abandon him, saying that if Hort's friend were alive, she wouldn't leave her either. Kudo struggles to find a way out, but his efforts are futile as he trips on another rope and gets caught by the hunter, a massive, muscular man named Tyrant. Tyrant mocks Kudo, who tries to attack with a spell, but it has no effect on the hunter. Tyrant easily swats Kudo away, rendering him unconscious. Tyrant notices Kudo's foot wound is already recovered. As Tyrant drags Kudo by his tail, Kudo recalls a painful memory of being imprisoned and blaming himself for his constant failures. He grips the root of the tree. Tyrant brutally chops off his hands, and Kudo grips the root with his mouth, trying to resist. Tyrant, unimpressed, raises his weapon to smash Kudo's skull. At that moment, Professor Loux appears, warning Tyrant not to take another step. She orders Ledin to attack, and Tyrant barely manages to defend himself. He questions how Loux can wield Ledin, and she explains that she has formed a contract with the staff. She unleashes a powerful spell that cuts the surrounding trees in half. Unfortunately, Sable and Hort arrive at the scene. Loux yells at them to flee, but Tyrant seizes the opportunity, grabbing Sable by the neck. Hort, seeing Tyrant's eyes, recognizes him as the same person who killed her friend. Loux demands that Tyrant release Sable, warning that his life is in danger too. Instead, Tyrant tightens his grip, offering to release Sable if Loux throws away her staff. When she refuses, Tyrant increases the pressure on Sable, who is on the verge of death. Loux, with no other choice, gives up her staff. Hort, standing firm, urges Loux to kill the hunter, even if it means their lives. Tyrant covers Ledin with his special cape, which neutralizes its effect, and orders Sable to take the staff. Then, Tyrant reveals Hort's true identity. She was sent to the academy to spy on witches. Hort, devastated, admits she was labeled as a demon child because of the horns she began to grow. Her mother had told her to always smile so people would accept her, and the church gave her the mission to become the best mage without being discovered. Hort had worked hard to excel, genuinely wanting to become a mage, never expecting to encounter Tyrant again. Hort kneels, overwhelmed with guilt, believing she has put everyone in danger. Sable, with a bright smile, reassures her that it's not her fault, surprising Hort with his optimism. Desperate, she takes Kudo's tail from her bag and casts a powerful spell, but Tyrant covers himself with his cape, rendering the spell useless. Tyrant calls her a traitor and advances to kill her. As the situation becomes dire, Ledin urges Sable to use him. Professor Loux tries to stop him, but Sable releases the magic, creating a powerful force that engulfs everyone like a nest. Sable loses consciousness, and when he awakens, Hort is hugging him tightly. Miraculously, they are all alive. Loux gets angry with Sable. If he really wants to die, she can kill him now. She gets angry at everyone for not listening to her, the wrong use of magic. Ultimately, she steals Ledin for one day for calling Sable, not her. As they move on, Sable asks Loux how he survived. She explains that his magic is infinite and Ledin's power cannot surpass it. Sable only needs to learn how to control his magic. She also invites Kudo to rejoin them, but Kudo is more concerned about finding his missing tail. Hort, smiling slyly, reveals that she used it as a spell offering, which infuriates Kudo. Sable stares at the starry night, deep in thought. Hort approaches him with a warm cup of milk, her face filled with uncertainty. "Do you think I'm a betrayer?" she asks, her voice trembling. Sable shakes his head. She sits beside him, voicing her fears. Why is everyone so kind to her despite everything? Sable, detached, replies that he's not particularly nice. He just doesn't concern himself with others. Hort removes his hat, guiding his hand to feel her small horns. She confesses that she was told to serve the church to cleanse her soul, but after her time at the academy, she wonders if she is a Beastfallen. She explains that when Beastfallen and witches die, their souls merge, and sometimes half-human, half-beast children are born. Over time, the witch's soul weakens, and the child becomes more human. Hort expresses her gratitude to Loux, and even to Sable for not judging her. In a moment of vulnerability, she kisses him on the cheek before heading off to bed. Out of nowhere, Professor Loux jumps into the scene, teasing Sable and urging him to take a step which he says he never understands stuff like love, making Loux laugh. The next morning, it's revealed that 2 of Kudo's group members were expelled for leaking information to the church, leaving only 4 of them to continue the journey. Loux points out that Kudo will struggle without his hands and suggests regenerating them. Kudo, however, is offended by the idea. Loux questions whether he has studied the healing magic in the 4th chapter of the Grimoire of Zero, which focuses on protection and healing. Kudo admits he knows the magic but fears using it, as it's so dense that it would drain all his energy before even a finger could be regenerated. Loux proposes using Sable's vast magical energy to assist Kudo, and they all agree. Loux then inquires who is skilled in protection spells, and Sable points to Kudo. Though Kudo modestly says he's better at hunting, everyone knows his real talents. Loux, with a mischievous grin, suggests that to feel the magic flow, they should touch sensitive areas, like a kiss. Hort protests this idea, then the 3 of them hold hands, and Sable channels his magic while Kudo recites the healing verses. Slowly, Kudo's hand and tail start to regenerate. After seeing this, everyone cherishes them a lot, and they sing for mages. As they prepare to continue their journey, they walk through the city. Sable accidentally bumps into a cart, spilling all its clay onto himself. Loux suggests a nearby bathhouse, and they head there. Inside, the bath is magnificent. While relaxing, Sable asks Kudo why he wanted to become a mage. Kudo shares his dream of joining the church's army, though they don't favor Beastfallen. His motivation is to be like the Dragon Conqueror King, who once saved him from a witch disaster that burned his town. Kudo asks Sable why he joined the academy, but they are interrupted when Professor Loux suddenly joins them in the bath, completely naked. Embarrassed, the boys dash out of the bath, only to collide with Hort at the door, making the situation even more awkward. Their journey continues smoothly after that, with the group enjoying lakes, camping, and learning hunting methods. Sable reflects on how safe and content he feels, something he never experienced during his 3 years at the academy. It's all thanks to Loux, whom Hort hugs, feeling her warmth like that of a mother. Kudo then asks Loux about her plans after their escort mission ends. Loux reveals that she intends to meet the Mudblack Witch, the author of the Grimoire of Zero. The others don't fully understand why, but Loux explains that after 300 years of life, she's grown bored of mundane things like eating, sleeping, and even breathing. She's not interested in offspring, love, or romance. What she seeks now are new experiences and dangers. Sable, ever the optimist, tells Loux that he still thinks she's a kind person, making her blush slightly. Despite her long life, Loux is clearly touched by their companionship. Their journey is interrupted when a young boy runs towards them, urging them to hide. They take refuge in a cave, and the boy seals the entrance with magic, which impresses Loux. However, the barrier doesn't block sound, and soon a giant beast comes calling for the boy to come out if he wants to live. The beast smashes through the barrier, forcing them to jump out of the cave. Kudo believes they can handle the beast with magic, but it not that as Professor Loux tries to smash him, but he blocks her strike. She asks them to run. Surprisingly, the beast puts down its sword, indicating that it doesn't want to fight. It just wants the boy to return to the village. The boy runs to hug a priest, explaining that the mages saved his life. The priest questions the trio if they're from the Academy's field program. Sable is surprised he knows about them, but the priest explains that the residents of the target village are informed about the participants. Laos tells the priest that he was saved by the trio. The priest criticizes their reckless behavior for confronting the Beastfallen mercenary, the witch's henchman, head-on. He reveals that 2 years ago, the village changed ownership when the student's supervisor abandoned it and handed it over to an invader. This revelation stirs up many questions among the group, but Sable quickly deduces that only the problematic students from the academy were sent here. Hort thinks the academy wants to get rid of them. They consider returning to the academy to complain, but fear the risk of expulsion. Kudo suggests notifying the church and mage army to defeat the witch, but the priest reminds him that the army would not care about a mere witch village. Loux, appearing suddenly, advises them not to trust anyone blindly. She suspects the priest might be on the witch's side. While the short-term solution might be to kill the suspects, Loux believes in careful scrutiny before acting. She asks the priest to show them around the village. As the group heads to the village, Leos finally reunites with his father. The priest tells the boy's father that the students suspect him of siding with a witch. The father agrees that he looks suspicious and suggests the students rest for the night, given the village's current quietness due to the presence of outsiders. The priest brings them to an eerie-looking house, and they go inside to inspect it. After some time, Loux, infuriated by Albus' actions of leaving them to fend for themselves, declares her intent to kill the witch and Albus. Her declaration falls flat as the others don't share her enthusiasm, which demoralizes her. Hort suggests returning to Wenias to get help from the church and mage army, but Sable points out that it would turn the village into a battlefield. Conflicted about the morality of their actions, Sable proposes they take matters into their own hands. Kudo warns that they are already fighting a losing battle and that Sable will die in vain. Hort tries to calm Kudo but fails. Sable admits that it's not worth getting expelled and losing their memories on top of everything else. Having once touched Luden, he's unafraid of death. Hort fears these thoughts and Sable apologizes, agreeing with her. He tells Kudo and Hort to leave the village if they're scared. Hort, teary-eyed, doesn't want Sable to die. Sable, oblivious to her feelings, doesn't understand why she's upset. Hort runs away, and Sable chases her to apologize, still clueless about her emotions. Loux explains to Sable that low self-regard can hurt loved ones, and he realizes he doesn't want Hort to die either. Hort finds herself in the church, questioning her status as a mage. She apologizes to Lily, who was cleaning there, for interrupting her. Hort notices Lily's unusual attire and asks why she's wearing it when it's not raining. At that moment, the priest appears behind them. He sends Lily out and warns Hort not to worry about others. He accuses her of betrayal after 4 years at the Mage Academy and justifies his actions by tying her up with a thread. Hort cries for help, but the priest silences her by placing a sickle at her throat. Back at the house, the trio grows tense about Hort's absence. They track her through her magic trail, which leads them to a cave. Inside, Loux stops abruptly, finding blood on the floor. From this point on, the traces are no longer Hort's alone. Loux decides to move forward, convinced the witch is inviting them in. Kudo, fearful, believes she's gone mad and will get them all killed. Loux counters that mage knights, like the dragon conqueror king they aspire to be, fear nothing. Scared, Kudo flees the cave but encounters the Beastman outside. The Beastman offers Kudo a chance to join his faction, promising entry into the army and a blood contract with a witch. Kudo inquires about Hort, and the Beastman cruelly claims to have eaten her, enraging Kudo. Inside the cave, Sable attempts to light it up like Kudo and succeeds on his second try. Loux and Sable move forward, with Loux cautioning Sable that his vast magic reservoir makes him an easy target for witches. Sable shows his resolve to save Hort, and Loux acknowledges his determination. Suddenly, a door opens, and a vine pulls Sable away. The priest appears from behind, pushing Loux into the same room and leaving her without Ladens. They're locked inside, and the priest mocks them for not killing him when they had the chance. As the floor lights up, a white-haired witch appears before the duo, leaving them to face a new challenge. The white-haired witch tossed Hort's bloodied hat at Sable. Sable's memory flickered, recalling this woman as the same figure he had met 3 years prior in the rain. She beckoned Sable closer, revealing she had been waiting for him. Confused, Sable asked for her identity. Loux, standing firm, advised Sable to stay calm, warning him that witch's eyes possessed potent magical abilities. The witch, irritated by Lou's interference, cast a spell that flung Loux away, landing her beside Sable. She then proclaimed that Loux was merely a pretender, a witch unable to wield magic properly, a fact that displeased her greatly. Turning to Sable, she praised him as exceptional, far superior to Loux, and threw Hort's bloodied cap once more. Sable, concerned for Hort's fate, inquired about her. The witch recounted how her mercenary had taken care of Hort, and she herself had gone to great lengths to claim Sable, including taking control of the village. Sable, overwhelmed with guilt, started overthinking everything that had happened, believing that both the good and bad were because of him. The witch declared that she alone would love, guide, and protect Sable. Despite being the sole memory he could not do without, Sable dismissed her, insisting she was unworthy of his care and attention. Summoning his resolve, he began channeling his energy into a spell, hoping to save Professor Loux. Unexpectedly, Loux rose, kissed Sable, and absorbed his magical energy. Empowered, she stood, scolding Sable for his recklessness. The witch, unimpressed, warned Loux that even with Sable's power, her magic was still superior. Loux, however, confidently cast a spell and fired it at the witch. Sable watched in shock as Loux imitated the spell the witch had just used. She unleashed the final verse of the chapter of hunting, Flogees, but the witch effortlessly nullified the magic, leaving them astonished. She revealed that the magic originated from the Grimoire of Zero, a book she had authored. Sable realized this was the witch the headmaster had mentioned. The mudblack witch, inching closer, cast another spell. Surprisingly, she didn't harm Sable. Instead, she announced that she would also supervise the field program, welcoming him. Loux, witnessing this amazing magic denial, was thrilled. The mudblack witch explained it was all a test, and Sable had passed. Hort approached them, congratulating Sable and embracing him. She explained that if Sable had sided with Zero, he would have faced expulsion. Similarly, the father had tested her by attempting to recruit her as an informant. He appeared and lightly scolded her for her actions. Loux regained Ledins and acknowledged that they had been tested all along. Kudo arrived with the mercenary, revealing that he, too, had passed the test, and that the mercenary's claims about eating Hort were false. The mercenary pointed to the father, who admitted the charade was necessary to evoke genuine emotions. The mudblack witch apologized for the insults, and Loux playfully returned the mockery. Back at the academy, the headmaster rejoiced upon receiving a letter stating that all 3 students had passed the test, a stark contrast to the previous year's failures. In the village, everyone celebrated the trio's success. Zero informed the students that despite attempts to expel them, they emerged victorious. Hort, curious about the academy's motives, learned that their potential was too great, and failure would have led to immediate expulsion to ensure everyone's safety. Zero compared Hort to the Mooncaller witch, the academy's headmaster, praised Kudo's resourcefulness and talent, predicting he would become the immortal mage, and acknowledged Sable's limitless magical potential, foreseeing him as the most renowned mage. Zero informed them that each of the 3 would have a store during the field programs to ensure their accessibility to the villagers. Zero herself operated a small shop in town. The mercenary and the father encouraged everyone to enjoy the feast. The priest revealed that Lily was an adult, but, due to her shy personality, avoided crowd. Later, Kudo called everyone's attention to the sky as a dragon descended, carrying the Dragon Conqueror King, who inquired about the 3 students. Zero and the mercenary greeted him. The king's letter granted them permission to use magic without restrictions, even though they hadn't graduated. Kudo eagerly approached the king, who remembered him from the freak circus. Zero then asked Loux if she intended to leave. Loux expressed her reluctance for Zero to harm her students, as her magic was significantly depleted, making Sable an ideal candidate for her. Zero admitted that Loux was correct but revealed that Sable had been attacked by a witch, resulting in his mother's death, and the witch who sought him died from a magical overload. Loux questioned Zero's control over Sable. Zero revealed that Sable was her nephew, and his father, the infamous 13, had stolen the Grimoire of Zero to create a world of witches. Hort, Sable, and Kudo found new roles in the village, each making the best of their skills. Hort took on various jobs. Kudo used his healing magic to work in a clinic, and Sable ran a magic shop to support the community. Hort often visited Sable's shop. One day, after Hort and Kudo left for work, Sable reflected on his new routine. Loux arrived with a basket of bread, and Sable admitted he was settling into village life but didn't venture out much. Loux, frustrated, pointed out that he couldn't truly integrate by staying indoors. Sable explained his duties at home, including cleaning and doing laundry for Hort, which embarrassed her as she hid her underwear under the bed to avoid Sable finding them. Loux scolded Sable for being oblivious to Hort's feelings, explaining that she was hiding her underwear out of modesty and that people often try to present their best selves to those they like. Loux confirmed Hort had feelings for Sable, but he viewed his chores as bringing him peace. Loux, remembering Zero's words about Sable's servitude, hugged him, encouraging him to step outside his routine. Sable hesitated, but agreed to fetch tea leaves after Loux ran out. He ventured out, guided by loux through the jungle. Lost, they were eventually led back by a troop of mice to the church. At the church, Lous's mother took him away, and the priest invited Sable inside for a meal. The priest, exuding a mysterious aura, ordered Lily to reveal herself, showing she was a mouse. Lily prepared a simple meal for Sable. The priest warned Sable about the forest's dangers, emphasizing wolves that prowled at night. Sable explained his journey for tea leaves, and the priest mocked him for not properly searching near Zero's house. He criticized Sable's indoor lifestyle, suggesting he needed to act independently rather than wait for Zero's help. Leaving the church, Sable encountered Hort, surprised to see him out. Noticing blood on her sleeve, Hort explained she was in the forest with the mercenary when wolves attacked. Lost, arriving on the scene, informed Sable of a magic supplier job opportunity. Sable followed Loux to the mercenary, who was severely injured. Zero initiated a power transfer by kissing Sable, allowing her to heal the mercenary. Sable worried about Hort's fate and whether she would face expulsion. Before leaving, he asked Zero to share the tea leaves with Loux. The trio discussed Sable's reclusive behavior, noting his slow progress compared to others. Loux expressed her desire for Sable to break free from his routine. Zero reminded Loux that everyone grows at their own pace. Loux, however, was eager for them to become elite mages and feared Sable's complacency would hinder them. She questioned what would happen if Sable didn't advance in his magical studies and remained just a magic supplier. The mercenary argued Sable should follow his own path. Back at the academy, Albus grew suspicious of Hold'em's visits to the village. She knew he liked Sable but doubted he would hold him accountable for his father's crimes. At Zero's house, Loux playfully teased Zero about a relationship with the mercenary. Zero advised against using Sable's magic without considering his limits, warning of the dangers of over-reliance. Meanwhile, Hold'em, traveling by carriage, discussed his next assignment with the Arbiter, responsible for attacking the students. Back in the village, Sable invited loux to play, eager to break from his routine and explore life beyond his duties. At midnight, Kudo wakes up asking for his next patient. Back at the site, he remembers treating all the patients. He made his way downstairs and was met by Hort, who informed him that he had fainted halfway through treating the patients because his magic was depleted. Concerned, Kudo quickly asked if the mercenary had died. This opens old wounds for Hort because she injured him earlier. She admits her fault regarding the incident, and Kudo instantly barged in to blame her for his murder. They start fighting like grade schoolers as he jokingly talks about killing her. Loux tells them to shut up whatever they're spewing about killing each other. Loux asks how they will face their mistakes. Hort decided not to use magic in combat until she had fully mastered it, while Kudo resolved to use his magic only in emergencies and always consult his boss first. Meanwhile, Sable planned a day in the forest with loux, gathering medicinal herbs as part of a herbology lesson. Loux suggested they also visit Zero the next day for a day off, waving them goodbye as they headed out. Hort remarked on how Loux was like a mother, strict yet kind. At Zero's house, Sable admired her extensive book collection. Zero shared information about the forbidden library located at Nidora Fort in the north, a place containing books banned by the church. This piqued Hort's and Sable's curiosity, but Kudo dismissed the idea, citing the dangers and remnants of disaster there. Sable reconsidered, but Hort insisted on visiting, confident in her role as the group's sword, with Kudo as the healer and Sable as their magic supply. Zero had a special lesson planned for Hort and took her aside for practice. Sable's attention was drawn to a book, and while Zero and Hort practiced magic together, Sable noticed Hort's significant improvement, though Zero's power remained formidable. Suddenly, Zero collapsed from exhaustion. Sable attempted to transfer magic through his hands, but was unsuccessful. He suggested a transfer through their lips, causing Hort and Kudo to blush, but Zero declined, stating that eating food would suffice to regain her strength. However, she fainted again, and Sable carried her inside, asking the others to fetch food from the mercenary. Zero reassured Sable, suggesting he stab her with a knife if needed to see the extent of his power, a proposition Sable hesitated to accept. She revealed their eye colors matched but refused to elaborate, mentioning instead his father and the book Sable had chosen, which happened to be about medicinal herbs. Despite the poor penmanship, Sable found the text easy to understand, and Zero explained that witches used special techniques to obscure their book's contents. The book's author, she revealed, was Sable's father. Sable describing the book as easy to understand will lead him to uncover its secrets soon. Mercenary finally appears and thanks Sable for staying with her, but he apologizes for being unable to transfer magic to her. In the forest, Sable and Laos search for a red flower field where tea leaves were said to grow. Laos praised Sable's growth, noting his newfound ability to read. Sable encouraged Laos to study too, assuring him that learning would lead to his own freedom. They eventually found the red flower field and celebrated. Laos eagerly asked about their next adventure, but Sable mentioned his need for solo magic practice, which dampened Laos's spirits. Seeing this, Sable invited Laos to join his practice sessions. Suddenly, an ominous aura filled the air, and a spiked ball emerged from the forest, launching thorns at them. Sable was struck in several places, and Laos was severely impaled in the abdomen. Sable, refusing to use his unstable healing spell on Laos, decided to carry him back to the village, with Laos losing consciousness along the way. Sable, overwhelmed with guilt, cried out for Lou's help. A blackbird appeared, urging Sable to hurry, informing him that Zero was on her way. Sable pressed on, and soon Zero and the mercenary arrived, followed by Lou. With both Sable and Laos suffering from blood loss, Zero instructed Lou to donate her blood. Zero cast a healing spell, stabilizing them both. Ironically, Zero and Lou then collapsed from magic deficiency and blood loss, respectively. Sable, still distraught, was comforted by Hort. Lou explains that the creature was a demonic entity disguised as a dead animal. The mercenary consults the priest, and as Hold'em shares rumors about disaster remnants, the priest and Lily set off to investigate, leaving the village despite Lily's concerns. The mercenary, acknowledging his oversight, alerts a neighboring village and leaves to find help. Zero, despite her depleted magic, decides to join the mercenary and priest, determined to offer protection on their journey. Hold'em mentions that Beastfallen are meant to work with witches. Hold'em tells the three students that he is here to inspect the village. He gets angry over them and makes them run away. Lou, bedridden, asked Hold'em why he was there, warning that using a remnant could cause the village's downfall. Hold'em asked if Lou could handle the problem, given that she was the only witch Master Sorna had relied on. Sorna had died protecting her people and had asked Lou to continue safeguarding the village, which was Sorna's dream. Hold'em offered Lou access to the Grimoire of Zero as compensation for her work. Sable tells the two he wants to become stronger as a mage. This instantly makes Hold go over her past underwear trauma. Lou walks out and tells the three to go back. Meanwhile, Hold'em destroyed a blood-filled capsule, releasing the shackles of the Arbiter hidden in the forest. Sable asked the others to teach him how to cast magic, offering to replenish their magic in return. Hort, blushing and hesitant, suggested that he might need to transfer magic through kissing, but Sable denied this, leading Hort to laugh awkwardly. She then asked if Sable would kiss a female, and he agreed, but Hort interrupted, not allowing this to happen. Hold'em asked Hort for an empty house to stay in, while Laos's father pulled Sable aside, advising him to stay away from Laos, though the incident was not Sable's fault. Sable asked if he could take Laos out once he became stronger, and Laos's father agreed, promising to teach Laos about the forest in the meantime. Suddenly, the muscular Arbiter appeared and kidnapped Sable, whisking him away in a horse-drawn carriage through the forest. Sable had a flashback of his mother warning him never to approach a witch with eyes like his. A witch with an axe threatened his mother, demanding Sable's compliance. When Sable emerged from his barrier, the witch brutally beheaded his mother. Sable, fueled by grief and rage, unleashed a torrent of magical power, killing the witch. The Arbiter, having removed Sable's mask, slapped the weeping Sable, stating that his orders were to take him alive. Hort and Kudo pursued the carriage on horseback. In the forest, Lou, tasked with cleaning up the thorns in exchange for reading the Grimoire of Zero, found a young man incapacitated by bee stings and helped him. Kudo severed his tail for Hold to use as a sacrifice, while Hort fired a magic shot at the Arbiter. Although the Arbiter deflected it, Sable's ropes burned off, freeing him. Sable seized the Arbiter, threatening to kill him if he moved. Meanwhile, Lou discovered Hold'em and Leos's father unconscious. Hold'em informed her that Sable had been abducted. The two kids decided to go, and although he tried to stop them, but they were put to sleep by magic. He realizes that his plan backfired as Lou pinpoints that he wanted to cause an incident to test the group, although he does not want to do Sable any harm. Hold'em is tense as he uses Tyrant for this test, but he might go over the top. Lou is flustered over this news. Tyrant viciously beats Sable, crushing his hands with his hammer and similarly attacking Hort and Kudo. He coldly advised them to strike when they had the chance to kill. The priest arrived, having been alerted by Lily about an outsider in the village. He wants to take Tyrant and Alive to reveal information. He mocked Tyrant with the same words Tyrant had used on Sable. Zero and the mercenary arrived at the scene, followed by Lou and Hold'em, who condemned the violence against Tyrant. Hold'em defensively explained that Tyrant had been tasked with bringing one student to the academy as a test for the village's defense. However, the students had been suspicious of Hold'em from the start, which led to their failed plan and Tyrant's excessive actions. Zero acknowledged that if Tyrant had intended to kill, the three students would be dead. The village's defense was weak due to a shortage of people caused by the remnants of disaster. They agreed on the need to protect other villages as well, contributing to their lack of manpower. Hold'em proposed utilizing Tyrant to bolster their defenses. Despite Tyrant's reluctance, he had no choice but to comply, given his failure. Hold pressed against the idea, mistrusting someone who had betrayed the church. She refused to forgive him for his attempts on their lives. Zero empathized, acknowledging the villagers' fear and animosity towards witches who had caused them pain, and the church's hiring of individuals like Tyrant to counter witches. Despite his violent past, Tyrant sought redemption by protecting the village. The priest admits to a similar past, and Lou confesses to killing witches. Kudo is willing to accept Tyrant as an ally, but warns he will be killed if he switches sides. Hort is cautious, fearing for Sable's safety. Sable apologizes for his perceived weakness, leading Kudo to suggest executing Tyrant to restore peace. Hort agrees to monitor Tyrant, allowing him to stay at the bar. Lou praises Hort's impartial decision, and Hort hugs Lou, overcome with emotion. Hold'em is leaving the village, asking Lou to come with him too. He says that time really flies for her, and Lou says jokingly that Hold'em will grow old when they meet again. Tyrant says his manners might lead to people liking him and having a positive image. Hearthful, girls working in church, mentions he can't build relationships by killing. Hearthful tells him that he will gain nothing this way, and he proceeds to strangle Hearthful, only for Ludens to be placed on his neck. Lou tells him not to do it again. Hearthful says that she did it to confirm whether she would be scared. Mercenary wants to get some information out of the assailant through torture, but he drops the plan since it's a kid. Kudo interferes, saying that it's wrong to torture anyone. He adds that they will send him to Wenias once he is stable. Hort praises. The priest enters the room and throws a staff at Hort, which she deflects. He finds that the boy, Katie, is awake. The Katie gets up and prepares to head, but the priest refers to him as a heretic who doesn't know the Purines of the church. Hort eavesdrops on them, saying they're not letting students interfere as much, considering they can fight too. She stops by the school only to find out the monstrous Tyrant is playing with children and teaching them how to make traps, as explained by Hearthful. Although he tries to scare Hearthful, but he likes to play around like a little kid too. Leos shows his trap to Tyrant, and they plan to go to the river tomorrow. Hort has an unsightly flashback of Tyrant with a pile of corpses, while Hearthful asks Hort to come along too, which she affirms since he's her servant. Hort tells him to quiet down, as he does not intend to kill the children as per Leo's question. Hort sighs in relief. Kudo receives a message from a mouse that the transfer is postponed, so he asks Katie to accompany him. Katie and Kudo walk out of the village. As Katie and Kudo walk out of the village, Katie asks Kudo why isn't he dead yet, since he is fated to die here. Kudo grabs him by the collar and says he should go down in history with good deeds, unlike the twisted morals he is taught. Releasing his grip, Kudo told Katie to follow him. They shared a lunch prepared by Lily, and Katie found it delicious food. He couldn't decide which dish was the best when asked. Kudo appreciated the soup but criticized the bitter sauce, perfectly imitating the priest's likely reaction to it. When asked why they were there, Kudo says to taste the food made by a Beastfallen with a Beastfallen. She tells him to puke the food out if he's gross from her looks, but he disagrees. Katie disagreed. expressing his gratitude to Lily and reassuring her not to apologize for her looks. Lily was pleased by this. The two return and Kudo tells him it's useless to escape and that he should sleep. Katie is finally content with some things and cries over the church's lies to him. Later, Sable demonstrated the first magic incantation he'd learned from Zero. They were captivated by his ability to manipulate shapes with magic. Kudo and Hort tried to imitate him, but found it challenging to control the magic. Sable asked Loux for assistance with an experiment, expressing his desire to use ligens instead of people for it. He also revealed his affection for Loux, who, caught off guard, fell to the ground trying to suppress her blush. She confessed her love for her students, but was flustered by Sable's sudden declaration and intention to marry her. Hort stepped in, stating that Sable's feelings seemed too abrupt and couldn't be forced. Meanwhile, Katie recalled a traumatic encounter at the church where witches were denounced as destructive and heartless. In his memory, he was surrounded by corpses, having been brainwashed by the church to kill witches. He awoke from this dream to find Hort inviting him to join them in catching fish. Katie was surprised by Hort's trust in Tyrant despite his betrayal. Hort explained that she, too, was raised in the church and betrayed them, but she remained wary of Tyrant. She assured Katie they wouldn't harm him as long as he didn't harm innocents. Just then, Katie's stomach growled. A sleeping Loss is woken up by Sable, who's brought Brad into her room and served her tea. He explained his desire to test a potion from one of Zero's books, authored by his father, 13. Loux was astonished to learn Sable was aware of his parentage. Ladens drank the potion from the test tube and, feeling content, encouraged Sable to bring more potions for further experimentation. Sable expressed his admiration for Loux, attributing it to her care for everyone, prompted by Hort's advice to express his feelings. As the group interacted, Tyrant had a flashback of his harsh upbringing, recalling his father's abuse for crafting traps he was ordered to make. Tyrant became notorious for his merciless traps, which he designed to capture criminals in the forest. Despite his exceptional talent, he was haunted by a request to design even crueler traps. Even the priest acknowledged his abilities, but condemned him to a painful life. When Hearthful asked Tyrant about his origins in the north and his experience with a witch destroying his hometown, he expressed a vengeful desire to hunt the children of his enemies. Hearthful responded by explaining that one couldn't condemn an entire group for the actions of a few, saying she would become a protector to avoid repeating past mistakes. Hort confronted Tyrant about his feelings for Hearthful, which he couldn't define but admitted stirred something within him. Suddenly, Katie's abdomen burst open, and his mouth morphed grotesquely, mindlessly chanting about his hunger. Tyrant swiftly intervened, shielding Hearthful but losing an arm in the process. Hort attempted a spell, but it had no effect on Katie. Tyrant identified the remnants of disaster as the cause of Katie's transformation, instructing Hort to escort the children to safety. Hearthful insisted on helping, while Tyrant, weaponless and feeling helpless, physically restrained Katie as Hort recited a lengthy spell. Tyrant suffered severe injuries, but Katie was temporarily contained. Their relief was short-lived as Katie broke free from his stone prison. Tyrant sacrificed himself again to buy Hort time to complete her spell. Kudo severed his tail to aid Hort, who successfully cast Flowgas, ending Katie's suffering. Kudo then used his magic to heal Tyrant's wounds and regenerate his limbs. Even with their victory, remnants of disaster emerged from Katie's charred corpse. Tyrant instructed everyone to lie flat on the ground. Loux arrived, consuming the remnants with light-ins, ultimately saving the group. Hort only feels sadness and anger at Katie's death and the mastermind doing everything. They tell Sable not to feel bad because he could not help, as they don't want to depend on him completely. From a distance, the Dragon Conqueror King reappeared, bearing a message that the trio was ordered to return to Wenias before their village turned into a battlefield. Confused and curious about this sudden turn of events, they sought an explanation from Zero. Zero explained that their lives could not be risked on a battlefield, and she ordered the trio to follow the rules or face expulsion. Sable drops out of the academy for the battle, but if he proves useful in battle, he wants to be remitted for his battle prowess. Zero dismissed his decision as a farce, pointing out that disabling an army was far more tedious than killing one. He suggested that magical potions could be a strategic solution, and with the combined efforts of Hort, Kudo, and the insights from Tyrant, they could perfect a potion for this purpose. Zero was surprised by Sable's proposal, admitting that she might have to graduate him instead of expelling him if he succeeded. Loux showed support for the plan, but Zero insisted it was an academy matter, prompting Loux to threaten to return with her students if they were sent back. Lou's remark about the village's disappearance hurting no more than a dog bite brought her to tears, revealing her deep attachment to the place. Zero, seeing Lou's genuine emotions, agreed to let them stay and decided to consult with Albus. Back at the academy, Albus endorsed their plan, and arrangements were made to mislead and repel the advancing army. Hort tested Sable's potion and felt completely revitalized. Sable shared with Hort and Kudo that he'd created the potion using a book authored by his father. Later, Tyrant visited Hort, who asked if he saw himself as a tool without will. Tyrant admitted that he could kill even those he loved if ordered to, including Hearthful. Hort was merely toying with him by bringing this up, and she informed him that Sable would need his expertise in trap-making. Although Hort disliked the idea of Tyrant playing a significant role in their plan, she couldn't oppose it, acknowledging that even someone like Tyrant could protect others in times of danger. This philosophy seemed to promise more agony for Tyrant, a prospect Hort found intriguing. Tyrant, now known as Tyrant Buster, due to his decisive leadership and strategic prowess in construction, was directed to focus on targeting enemy equipment and those who attacked first. Kudo cautioned that their approach was dangerous, but Sable warned that it could lead to a massacre. Zero suggested integrating another method of combined magic into their strategy. As preparations continued, Lily summoned Mercenary to assist her with cooking. The priest urged Lily to seek refuge at the cathedral with the Dragon Conqueror King, but she refused, determined to stay and protect the priest. Loux grabs Lily and starts rubbing her face inappropriately like a fatherless person. The priest tells Lost that Lily wants to stay back only because of him. Loux changes the topic to the remnants of the disaster that affected Katie. She shows him a model of it and says that someone is spreading it like a plague while being fully prepared for the outcomes by having a cure for it already. Loux considered joining the villagers heading to Lautra Cathedral. Hold'em informed the Knight Captain at the Academy about their decision to send troops, but not to engage in combat. They believed treating the anti-witch forces fairly might lead to a change in their stance. Farrier requested the Church and Mage Knights to deploy the Magic Medic unit, acknowledging their opposition to Zero's village. After deliberation, Farrier pinned a letter to Torres, head of the Creon Republic, which Cal was tasked with delivering. Oris praised Albus for her strategic acumen, comparing the situation to a chess game. He revealed that the remnants of disaster issue began with a noble obsessed with adventure stories, who had brought back bodies containing disaster seeds, mistakenly believing they were the key to the phenomenon. Torres presented a seed to Albus and instructed him to summon the mage commander for a briefing with Zero. Leos and his father met with Sable, with Leos pledging to return stronger after the conflict. As war preparations neared completion, Sable reminded Zero of her duty to protect them while he provided magical support. Slightly lightheaded but encouraged by Hort and Kudo, Sable took pride in his achievements. Zero sternly warned that any mistakes in the war effort would result in expulsion. As the formidable army advanced towards the village, Loux stood vigilant, ready to defend her home and those she cared about. As the army marched toward the village, they believed they would be rewarded with the village's land if they killed the witch. However, their plans were quickly disrupted when demonic rats attacked them, forcing a change in their route. They soon found themselves in another trap, with blades flying through the air, severing limbs. When it started raining, the green holy magic restored their limbs, but they realized the power they're against, so the commander retreats as the witches show them mercy. Zero discussed the student strategy, noting how they had successfully redirected the foot soldiers. Despite this victory, the Beastfallen group continued to advance, with a demon-possessed Beastfallen among them who could wield endless magic without incantation. The priest worried that they couldn't fight these forces with their small numbers. Mercenary taunted him for not leaving earlier, but the priest stayed for Lily, who was missing. Concerned for her safety, they both rushed out to find her. Zero marks the start of the battle for the three students. Incidentally, Lily has been caught by the Beastfallen mercenaries. The demon orders him to take her to the village and eat her before the defenders. Wires suddenly kills the wolf, praising the demon. Upon Lily's approval, the demon decides to kill her to make the defenders fight harder. The priest intervened, slicing off the demon's arm and reminding her that she should not wish for death. The demon's wound didn't heal because the priest's weapon was both witch-cursed and church-consecrated. In response, the demon tore off the affected part and regrew a new limb. The mercenary joined the fight, slashing through soldiers. The priest ordered Lily to hide as he and the mercenary fought back. The mercenary attacked the demon-possessed Beastfallen, while the priest took on the other enemies. Outside the village walls, many soldiers fell into traps. Tyrant, Hort, Sable, and Kudo stood atop the fort, with Hort firing magical projectiles at the soldiers. Zero advised the students to aim carefully. As the enemy surged towards the defenders again, one soldier escaped Tyrant and headed for the wall, but Sable quickly dispatched him by tearing off his arm. Hort unveiled her trump card, firing precise, incantation-free shots at the enemy. Kudo descended to heal the wounded soldiers. The ground shook as the mercenary and the demon-possessed clashed. Kudo's comment about the mercenary being old irritated him, but the demon seized the opportunity to strangle the mercenary. The mercenary severed the demon's arm and parried his neck. He then called out to Zero for assistance. She instructed the mercenary to leave the wall on her signal and began chanting a spell. The sky darkened with a green hue, and once Zero finished her long spell, she signaled the mercenary. The demons within the possessed soldiers were consumed by the magic, emphasizing that an evil mage could potentially destroy the world. Torres, Albus, and Hold'em watched from a distance, amazed by the spectacle. As the defeated army retreated, Hold'em felt a twinge of jealousy at how close Torres was to Albus, who suddenly sensed something amiss. The remnants of disaster were lying in wait to devour the audience. Albus quickly called her commanders to protect everyone. Mage Commander Anders stepped forward, preparing to cast a protective spell. Although the remnants were deflected, they emerged unscathed and attacked the audience. Bishop Idemare ordered those around him to shield themselves and commented that Zero was willing to take drastic measures to protect her village. He had hoped to trust in the witch's goodness and Albus's capabilities, mentioning that he had already prepared countermeasures. However, Albus revealed her cunning. She pointed out to Bishop Idemare that to dispel a curse, one must know the enemy demon's name, questioning how he knew it. As the remnants of disaster approached, Loux made a dramatic entrance, spouting philosophical nonsense at Idemare and offering him a chance to mend his ways. She accused him of rigging his soldiers with relics that turned them into monsters upon escape, planning to blame the witches. She produced a remnant seed from Lydin, found in Katie's stomach, and forced Idemare to swallow it despite his pleas. Back at the Academy of Wenias, Albus summoned the 3 students to award them their diplomas. Hort asked Albus for help in finding jobs. Kudo expressed a desire to join the church and mage knights, while Sable aimed to pursue magic research. Albus assured them she had the perfect job lined up for them. Upon returning to the village, Zero handed Sable his father's book, a memento from 13, which he had been unable to decipher. Sable quickly deciphered the book by replacing certain characters with zeros, revealing it was written for his brethren, including Zero. He bid farewell to his aunt, Zero, who playfully hit him on the head and told the trio to take care. Tyrant chose to remain in the village, while Lily tearfully offered Kudo food as if he were her son about to embark on a journey. Leos demanded to join Sable on his adventures, but Sable promised to take him along once Leos was grown up. In the end, Kudo felt anxious about their next mission to gather information on the remnants of the disaster from the Forbidden Library, a potentially perilous task. Sable was excited to graduate with his companions, and as he expressed his affection for both Kudo and Hort, they blushed. Hort, frustrated by Sable's ability to make her like him even more despite his uncertain feelings, had another dramatic moment as motion sickness struck Sable. As they boarded the carriage, Sable expressed his wish to see Loux again.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. If you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Until next time, take care.